Couples Corner with Team Bevins of I Still Do Ministries every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is another episode, and today you will get some good information, some great nuggets, and some tools to strengthen your relationship. The Couples Corner with Team Bevins. Welcome to the Couples Corner, party people. What it do? What it do? We are happy to be in the Couples Corner again with y'all tonight. And tonight, man, it's beautiful. You know, I know it was a little snow and rain and all that good stuff, but we ain't going to let the weather dictate how we feel and how we act. So tonight, we have a pretty interesting show because we got to deal with some reality. You know, sometimes we don't always want to deal with the reality. And we're going to deal with the reality tonight of our goals for 2019. You know, we're going to find out if we met them, if we didn't, or what. So we're going to deal with them goals tonight, all right? For those of you who are brand new to the Couples Corner, we are Team Bevins. I'm Marcus, and this is my wonderful wife,
Cherie.
And we are here to get the party started. We like to stimulate conversation and, you know, give you some things that you can talk about and think about, and you know, and that's what this is all about. So we're looking forward to being able to share tonight and, you know, dealing with some wonderful things and some wonderful people. So, you know, y'all let us know how y'all doing tonight, how y'all feeling, all that good stuff. You know, we're going to jump into this conversation in a moment after we pray. But as soon as we're done with the prayer, we're getting into it, and it's going down. All right? So let's pray. Father, we thank you for another opportunity to gather together in the Couples Corner. We thank you for everything that you are doing in this season. We thank you for everything that you have done. We thank you that today was a great day, regardless of what the weather was and regardless of what was going on around us, that you gave us breath, another opportunity, and we're grateful for that. And so we look forward to everything that we will be able to accomplish and all of the things that will happen today as a result of what we are able to accomplish together with you and with our mate. We love you. We thank you for all that you continue to help us to see and to show us. And we look forward to what you're going to do tonight in the Couples Corner. We pray that you would give us tools, give us nuggets, give us things that we can use that will cause us to be better in our relationships and to grow stronger, that we will be able to endure and that we will be examples to those who desire to be a part of the institution of marriage just as we are. And we love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so we're talking about tonight, we're talking about goals, and we're talking about our 2019 goals. You know, some of you, you know, set out some goals, you made some goals, you had some things that you wanted to accomplish, some things that you wanted to do, and so that's what we want to talk about tonight. You know, we want to find out how you made out in 2019. We're coming to the close of it, and, you know, many of us, you know, had some desires, and, you know, a lot of people are into New Year resolutions or whatever, and then some people just have some goals. They consistently set goals and create some avenues and some things that of what they want to do and where they want to be, and that's what we want to, you know, that's what we want to talk about tonight. How did you handle the goals that you set for 2019? Did you accomplish them? You know. And in the process of accomplishing them, you know, how do you feel about it? And for the ones that you didn't accomplish, you know, where are you on that? Are you throwing them away? Are you going to continue to, you know, strive to get them, or what? What's your plan for the goals that you already you know, started and had and all that good stuff? So we want to hear from you guys tonight so that we can find out where you are with your goals and what has been accomplished. So that's the first question that's on the table tonight. Did you meet the goals that you set for 2019? And if not, are you still working on them? Because there's still some time. You still got a couple days in this year that you can get them done. So we want to hear about your goals and what you set out to do. So I know I had a couple that I set, you know, a couple of them, most of them actually, I accomplished. I still have two that I'm still working on, and I got, you know, a couple days to kind of to see how they work out. One of them is in my power and my control, and so if that doesn't get done, that's completely my fault. And one is not completely in my power, but it's still a goal that I'm still working on. So overall, I would say 98% of the goals that I set for this year, I was able to accomplish them. And it wasn't easy, but the consistency to stay with it, knowing what was at stake, and knowing what I set out and said that I wanted to accomplish, that I was able to do it and stay with it. And that's ultimately what it really kind of, comes down to, especially for me, that I'm able to stay, focused to be able to do it. Because if you lose the focus, then it's going to be difficult to reach those goals and to be able to actually, feel like you've accomplished the things that you set out to do. So for me, I kind of kept that focus, in several of those areas, and was able to pull off majority of those goals. So I would say it was a pretty successful year in that aspect. Like I said, I still have two that I need to get accomplished, and they ain't done yet. So I'm not happy until they're either done or time is up. But one of the two got to happen, because I really want to get them done. So that's kind of where I am on the personal side of it. So what about you, babe?
So, a few of my goals, I think one of them I am still waiting on. But I think two I have accomplished. But I need to look at my list again. But I said this earlier, and I kind of really meant it. Kind of when my dad passed, stuff got a little blurry for me. Mm-hmm. And so this might have happened to some of y'all. You got a little off track, a little off focus. And some days I feel like I'm still off focus. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Am I achieving what I need to achieve? Because there's a process to grief. Right. And so my goals, I know I have accomplished a couple, but I know there's one major one that I am not doing and have not done so well with. But, and then there's one that I'm just waiting for because I have to wait. When my dad passed, things got a little foggy. So sometimes we got to step back and try to refocus, and, think. And no matter what time of year it is, we have to, kind of try to get back on the grind with your goals. Right. But one thing is that I feel like today is so important, because we always talk about what our goals are going to be, or what our New Year's resolution is going to be, if that's what you call it, or what you're going to do in the new year. No matter what new year it is, every new year somebody's talking about what they're about to do, how they're about to be different, but they never look at, did they meet it? Right. You never take the time to say in March, how am I doing? Mm-hmm. I was talking a lot with the crowd about how am I doing in your relationships. You're setting goals. We talk about setting goals every anniversary. How are you doing with those goals? Right. You don't wait to the next anniversary to say, now you do look at it the next anniversary, but you don't wait to the next anniversary to say, hey, we didn't meet this. We're not doing this, because you could have fixed that 3 months after your anniversary. Very true. So I think that this tonight is very important, because I want y'all to think about the things that you say that you don't go back and check up on, that you don't go back and evaluate and say, okay, so like we're saying now, but we have some of us, we have what, a few weeks left for the end of the year, and some of us never even thought about our goal, never even thought about the stuff we said on the 31st of last year going into the 1st. Right. Or whenever you said it. Sometimes your new year could be in February because you just didn't get it in January the 1st. But whenever you said it, you never went back to check or to see. Whenever your anniversary, if your anniversary is February the 14th, I know a lot of y'all probably got married on February 14th. If that's your anniversary, by May or June, Are we reaching? Are we on the road, the right path to reach the goals that we set for our relationship?
Right.
You know, we're not waiting till February 1st to say, man, we didn't save any money this year, or we didn't get, because you could have fixed that beforehand. So I think that people, all of us, me included, we are so set on making sure that we say this or we write it down. And some of us aren't even writing it down, but you have to write it down.
Right.
And you're writing it down, but you're not going back to do those evaluations and those checks to see how you met it. So, of course, tonight we want you to talk to us. Call us, 1-855-493-6499. Type your comments or your questions or your on Facebook, because we want to know, like, are you meeting your goals? And if you're one of those people that are meeting it, how do you make sure you meet it? If you're one of those marriages that, or relationships that are meeting things, how are you doing it? Help somebody tonight. Right. How are you making sure you stay on track? And when you fall off track, like I said, my dad passing kind of fell off track a little bit. Mentally, you just like, what just happened? So how do you get back? Help me. How do I get back on track? How do I, not feel like a failure at the end of the year if I don't reach all these goals that I had planned or that I felt like I should have attained? And how, if you do mess up, do you put that goal on your next list, on your list that you right the next time? Or do you just say, okay, well, didn't get that. We'll wait a year and go back and put that. Like, talk to us. We want to know. We want to hear what you're doing and how you're doing it. We want dialogue tonight.
Yep. So, I think that one of the things that that you mentioned is very good and serious, because I think sometimes we don't take into account that life happens, and even as believers, people try to act like because you believe in God that you're exempt from life happening, you're exempt from things transpiring and all of that. But no, the Bible tells you it rains on the just and the unjust. So you're not going to be dodging every obstacle, or you'll have no adversity because you're a believer and because you walk with the Lord. Like, no, that's not reality. And so, but you still have to produce. You still have to be able to bounce back, to be able to trust God, and to be able to put some works with your faith, and it's not always easy, but it's really about where you are and how you really, approach the situation, and how you really, put yourself in position to be able to actually, continue to move forward. Because, honestly, everybody is not great at bouncing back. Everybody is not great at getting up if you get knocked down for whatever reason. It could be a plethora of things that could cause you to, to have a moment where you stop. But, it really should be a pause and not a stop. And then really what we need is accountability partners. We need people that will push us when we get stuck, people who will, keep us on point, and people who won't let us stay stuck or stay still because we haven't actually, finished everything, or we had a moment where we had to stop, and it's like, listen, that happens. But when it does, we have to be able to get back in the game. You know what I mean? You call a timeout in the game just so that you can regroup. You don't call a timeout and quit. The timeout isn't for you to quit. The timeout is for you to regroup and, to kind of restructure your game plan, because maybe you realize that what I'm up against, or what just happened, kind of put me in a position where I had to take a pause and regroup before I jump back in this game, because the original plan now has changed. And so, we have to be able to adapt in those type of situations. And honestly, this is an area that, like you said, a lot of couples don't revisit, and people, period. We'll start it. We'll talk about it, that this is what I want to do. This is where I'm trying to be. This is what it is. And, all of those things, and all of that stuff is great. But what happens after that, because we all in it. We all in it, honestly, in the beginning when we first start talking about it. We all in it when we saying, this is what I want to do, and and I'm trying to complete these things, and I want to put all of this stuff in place. That all sounds good, but when it comes time to actually produce, where are you then? You know what I'm saying? Are you really showing up? in the times that you're needed the most. And that's the real part in this. And so, you know, sometimes we can be so reserved that we don't share our success, and not sharing your success in the aspect of bragging about what you've done or what you accomplished, but I'm saying sharing your success in the aspect of this is a area of strength for you, and you can provide some success to someone else because the strength that this area of strength for you, you can provide nuggets and wisdom to someone who it may not be the strength for them, and they need that push. You know, they need that extra nudge in order for them to be able to keep going and to produce at the high level that they want to. Because I say it all the time, I really don't think that too many people are out here like, yeah, I want to fail. I don't want to, I don't want to do good. I don't want to be great. I don't want to finish the things that I started. I don't want, you know what I mean? Like, that's pointless in making a goal if you really don't want to reach it. But at the same time, if it's really something that we are, positioning ourselves to do and to have success in, we have to say, okay, this is where we are. This is what it takes. This is what I'm doing, and let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it done. And you have to have some stand power in those moments where you don't feel like it, or where, things don't seem to be necessarily going the way that you thought that they were going to be going at that particular moment. But you got to have that it factor to say, I ain't quitting. It's a goal for a reason. And listen, if it was easy, then everybody would do it. If it was easy, then you probably wouldn't appreciate it when you actually got to it. But when we realize that what we're out here trying to accomplish and the things that we want to do, that it really may take some work, and hopefully some of the goals that we set out were not easy. Because if they were easy, then it really wouldn't take anything for you to do it. It wouldn't take anything for you to accomplish it. And then you really may not be as happy as you thought you would be when you did get the opportunity to accomplish it. So we really have to kind of look at it from a few perspectives that help us to see how necessary our stride is in this whole process. Because if we're not striding properly, then we're going to have some issues. We're going to have some issues doing it. I know for me, one of the goals that I had set out was there was a project that I wanted to do because of my workouts, because I was struggling. I kind of made mention of it, some time before, that in my workout journey, that I was struggling finding music that was good, that would motivate me on those days that I didn't want to do it. Because every day I didn't feel like going. Like today was one of them days I didn't feel like going, but I had to do it because I promised myself that I wanted to be somewhere, and that was one of the goals that I was able to meet. But I'm still, there's still more, and I started a new goal, you know what I mean? So once I reached that goal, I started a new one, and I can't stop. And, I can celebrate for a moment, but I can't live there like it's over, so I have to jump back in and keep going. But, you have those times where you don't want to do it. You have those times where you don't feel like doing it, or it doesn't seem like, it's really going to work, or it's not beneficial, or whatever the case. But like, you have to be able to encourage yourself sometimes, because sometimes you're not going to find the encouragement from outside. You're not going to always have a cheering squad. You're not going to always have, people, cheering you on, rah, rah, go do it, you're the greatest, all that kind of stuff. That's not going to always be present, but you still have to be able to produce. And if you can't find it within yourself to be able to do it, then there's a great chance that you'll quit. And so, that caused me to get into a place where I said, you know what, I'm going to make my own music, because having the ability to make music, I'm like, I'll make my own. And I did it initially for me, but then once I started seeing how it was helping me in those days that I didn't want to do it, I said, you know what, now I have to take what I did just as something to do and perfect it so that I can make it something that it can help other people. And it took some work to do, and especially because for me it wasn't my comfort area of music that I usually do. So I was challenged in that area to be able to effectively do it, but I pulled it off. You know what I mean? I got the right people around me to keep me motivated when I, didn't want to do it or when I wasn't producing like I should. And they like, hey, what's going on? I thought this or whatever. And I set a date of when I wanted it to be complete and all of that. And it wasn't easy. It ended up being some late nights and some early mornings and some, working around and being uncomfortable, honestly, to pull it off. But it was able to be done. And so it put me in a position where I was proud to get it done, regardless of what anyone else thought or regardless of what, come out of it or whatever. It was something that I was happy to be able to scratch off, my list of things that I was able to get done. And so, that feeling is great. And sometimes we rob ourselves of opportunities to experience some things, because we can allow life, or just us being, if we be honest, allow us being lazy and not feeling like being consistent and doing the things that would really put us in a position to be successful. We can get complacent in that and be like, well, next time, or maybe I'll do it here, or maybe I'll do it there. But that's not okay, and we have to say that's not okay. And we need people around us that won't let us think or live in a place that treats us like, oh, it's okay, when it's really not. So, we have to really look at that from the right perspective to say, okay, I could have done better, or I'm going to do better. I'm going to work hard. I'm not going to give up on this because this is something that's important to me to get accomplished. And, I don't know about you all, but I know for me, the feeling of completion and the feeling of success is big for me. And, I strive to continue to feel that, because it works. It's that alone is a big portion of my motivation for my next project. That's a big motivation for my next goal, my next assignment that I'm doing, to be able to make sure that I get back to that place of completion. And that's big because, there was a good portion of time of my life where I wasn't a finisher. I had great beginnings. I would start, but I wouldn't necessarily finish. Get in the middle and just be like, oh well, on to the next thing, or oh well, now my focus is over here, or now instead of being able to hone in and be focused and say, you know what, I need to finish this before I start this next thing, because if I start this, I'm gonna have too many, like a computer, I'm gonna have too many windows open and won't be able to focus properly on being able to accomplish, any of the ones that we really set out to do first. So, y'all chime in and let us know how you made out with your goals and the things that you set out to do this year. How successful were you with them, and, you being able to really kind of push the envelope and get them done. We used to always joke about the little saying about get it done, get her done, because it's like, you don't want to be that one that doesn't finish. You don't want to be the one that, that doesn't get it accomplished. So, that's a big deal and a big step. And I think if we really be honest with ourselves, because that's really where it starts. It really starts with us being honest with ourselves and really, looking at the scenario and saying, hey, I could have done this, or I could have done that, or, whatever the case. But there's some opposition that you may run up against, but we can't let that opposition make us throw in the towel when we really want to keep going. So how were you all able to, get over those hurdles and to keep pushing in those same areas? So y'all let us know. For those who are with us on social media, feel free to, type your response and we'll read it. And for those of you who are listening with us on Mix Station, you can call at 1-855-493-6499 and we will get you guys in on the conversation. So while we give a chance for, some people to jump in there, I have another thing that I kind of want to put on the table too. When you set a goal, I think that sometimes part of our lack of success when we set a goal is that we don't set a plan. We usually set a goal because we have a destination, but we usually don't have directions to get to the destination. And so when you have a destination without any directions, it's just a hope. You know what I mean? Because you don't know how to get there. You don't do the necessary things to position yourself for what you're actually trying to accomplish and what you really want to do. Like if you don't have a plan, then you can be sitting still without realizing that you're wasting time, without realizing that you haven't made any forward progress. So, these are the kinds of things that we have to look at and kind of think about. Like, what was my plan when I set this goal? Did I really have one? And when I did, what did I do to ensure that this plan was going to be that it was going to be fulfilled? Because I know a couple of times I've set some goals and said, okay, this is what I want to do, but didn't have a plan. And so it kept being a goal, but it was a goal that I was making no progress with because there was no plan. And without that plan, I really wasn't able to, get any footing and make any forward progress, because it's like, how am I? I don't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? And so when you don't know which way to go and you don't know what to do or how to get there, then you'll stand still and you'll become frustrated because you know where you want to be, but in your process of desiring to be there, you never established a plan. And without that plan, it makes it nearly impossible for you to reach the goal that you're trying to reach. So what do you do, or what would you say to that, babe, as far as people who have goals but never set a plan?
They're going to fail. That's what I would say. They're going to fail. Like, you have to write it down, make it plain. You have to know what you need to do, how you need to do it to accomplish it. And you have to seek people out. You have to, if you have a goal and you don't know actually how to get to that goal, but you know what you want to do. It's like if you have a goal of buying a house, but you're not sure what your first steps are, you need to go to a seminar.
Right.
You need to go on the internet and figure out or look and say, what are the steps to buying a house? You have to have a plan to even find out where you need to start. And then you have to work it in the order that it needs to be worked. Because, some people won't even take you out if you're not pre-approved. But people don't even know. They just want to go looking for houses.
Right.
And just get a house. But it's a process to it. So although your end goal is to own a house, there's a process no matter what size the house is, because people are giving you money. And so there's a process for somebody to give you money to obtain something. So I think that if you don't have a plan, you are setting yourself up to fail. And many of us, even our relationships, are doing this because we don't have a plan for how we want to carry things out, or we have a goal for what we want our relationship to be or to look like in a couple of months or in a year or in 5 years or in 20 years, but we have not marked it. We have not wrote it on paper and said, this is where we should be year one. This is where we should be year two. And if we fall short, then how are we going to get back on track? And how do we get to the things or obtain the things that we need? You're going to have to, like I said, spend some money. You're going to have to spend some money sometimes to reach your goals. So because you don't know everything, you just know what you want.
Right.
And so in knowing what you want, you have to, and even as a couple, if you know what you want, you need to go and figure out, then you need to sit down and say, okay, how do we get this? If you want to have $20,000 saved yearly, then you need to figure out how are we going to get to this goal. We're not going to get to it by saving $20,000 at one time. You're going to have to break it down into weeks, months, something like that, so that you can attain it. You're going to have to say, well, we're going to have to invest in this to get extra money, or to double our money to get that. You have to figure out ways. And if you're not educated, you need to go to someone who is educated in the area that you want to be. So I used to work for someone, and he used to always say, the letters behind your name tell me what you are. And so why is anybody talking when I'm asking Nurse Cherie? Was she? I mean, and of course they call me Nurse Cherie, but he basically was like, "What? Why are you answering a question that you're not qualified to answer?" So if you need help or if you need specifics on getting your goals done or your process down so that you can meet your goal, you need to go to people, or you need to surround yourself or search for information for people who are in those specific areas so that you can get the proper help. Yes, your homeboy, your homegirl, the couple that you hang with, they might can tell you, but if they never did it, they just telling you what they think. But you need someone to actually tell you how to get it. And don't think that people are going to obtain your goals for you, Very even true. In your marriage, nobody can make you obtain a goal of better communication. You can go to counselor, you can go to marriage seminars, you can do all of that, but you need to put the work in to obtain that better communication that you want, if that's a goal. Even if you have a goal of saving money, you can go to whoever you want, but when you leave and when you looking at your notes and when it's time for you to put in the work versus excuse me, when it's time for you to put in the work and save that money versus buying whatever you want to buy, you're going to be the one who has to do it to achieve the goal. So no matter where you go, once you have your plan, once you have your goal, and then you have your plan to achieve your goal, then you need to activate it. You need to activate it. It's just like going to church on a Sunday or whatever day you go to church and you get the word, then you need to activate the word in your life. It sounds good when you're in service. It sounds good when your preacher preaching. It sounds good you jumping up and down, or if you watching on YouTube. Some of y'all don't make it, I know. So if you watching it, your services on YouTube or wherever, it sounds good. But when it's time to activate it, can you activate it? It sounds good when your boss says we're going to get a raise if everybody meets their goals. But when you're out there, and you sleeping half your day away and not doing the work that you need to do so we can all meet our goals, you're not activating what you need so you can reach your goal. Right. So if your relationship has set a goal, or you have set a goal, you and your spouse or your fiance, you have set a goal, you need to get the plan for it. You need to seek out the experts in it if you don't know how to plan for it or go through the process. And then you need to activate it, because nobody is going to do it for you. They will give you the information. You may pay for the information, but then you need to yourself apply it. You need to apply it to your situation. You need to apply it to what you want, and so that at the end you can say, this is a goal that we reach and this is how. And then once you can do it, you can help somebody else do it. If we all help each other, you can help someone else do it. There are plenty of people out here having, let's just take marriage conferences, for instance. Like we're having one January 24th and 25th. Right. But and yes, you may pay for that. Some you may pay a lot, some you may pay a little. But what you're getting at those conferences, you need to store it up, and you need to go back to it and say, how can I apply this to my marriage? Because all of us aren't giving you stuff just if you're having problems. A lot of us are giving you real life things that you can, that you're going to deal with every day. And so you need to say, how can I apply this? How can I apply what I've learned? Because other than that, it's just words on the paper. Right. If you're not going to do it. Yes, you may have accomplished the goal. Okay, I wrote my goals down. Now what do you do after that? Okay, I wrote the process. Now after the process, you're just going to read it every day? Right. When are you going to check off the steps that you did to get that, And a lot of people think that, counselors or pastors or ministers are miracle workers because they go there for counseling. Oh, and everybody that goes for counseling for their marriage is not in trouble. Right. There are plenty of people who go because they just want to continue to have a healthy marriage. But even still, you have to leave out of there and say, this is what we're going to do. Right. We're going to do, every time we go, we're going to apply what they give us, and then we're going to check back in 30 days and see how well it's been. Right. And some of us can't wait 30 days. Some of us got to check back in 14 because 30 days too long. We're going to mess up something.
Yeah.
So you need to. That's just that was my answer to that. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, and that is not just something to say.
Yeah, that's true.
The Bible says write it down and make it plain. But after you do that, you have to be able to grab that off the paper and run with it and make it real in your life.
Right.
And when you don't, it will be nobody else's fault but yours. Yeah, there are some things that you have to wait on people to help with. But if you don't even take that first, second, and third step, then you will never know if they will do it or it can be accomplished. And then another thing is we don't plan. Sometimes we don't do things because we don't know. We're ignorant. We don't know what it will take or what it will cost, and we just automatically think it will be way over our heads, or my marriage can never be like that, or my relationship can never be like that, or we could never save this, that, never. We will never have a house until somebody dies and gives it to us. No, you have to go and seek and find out how to do it.
Right. Very
how
true.
to do it. You have to find out. You need to talk to couples and say, listen, how did y'all get your first house? Because the house that you see people living in now, it's not that first house. That first house they wasn't inviting you to. But it was a stepping stone to
Right.
get to the next one.
Right.
But you need to really sit down, and people, those of us who have accomplished things in our relationships, we need to be able to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly so that people can get over the hump and be able to apply those things and be successful.
That's very good. And there's another component to that I think that we don't give enough attention to sometimes, and that is failure, right? Because sometimes failure is some of the best motivation that you can get. And I think that sometimes we will have a moment of failure and treat it as if that you are a failure. No, the thing that you set out to do, the thing that you attempted to do, it didn't work for whatever reason, but you use that as fuel for you to go back and to reestablish what needs to happen so that you can do it better. But sometimes we just throw in the towel. Sometimes we just say, you know what, forget it. I'm not doing it, or I'm not, getting into it, or just, oh, well, it's whatever, instead of growing from it, and sometimes we act like a closed door or a no is the end of the world. But, I say it all the time, 409, the cleaning solution, is 409 because it failed 408 times. But it was their resiliency. It was them not giving up that allowed them to recognize that what my goal was something that I know that when it gets in the right place or in the right hands or the right time, that it's going to be successful. But I know that this is good. I know that this can work. I know that if I, do it the right way, that it can be successful. And so I'm not giving up because I got to know. I'm not going to just sit here and wallow in this moment of defeat as if I lost the war because I lost a round. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes we don't bounce back from that no. We don't bounce back from that moment of defeat or that hardship, when in reality that should be our motivation. That should be the thing that keeps us going. That should be the thing that pushes us, because when you got something good, you don't let somebody who can't see it determine that it's not good. You move on to who can, and in this area we're talking business, or we're talking achievement of things. We ain't necessarily talking about people, but we're saying it in an aspect of like, okay, as a business owner, you have an idea, you wanna do something, or you want to build something, or you want to present something to the marketplace, and that's good. But when you go to do it, because somebody can't see the quality of it, because it might not be their taste, or they may not be the one that is going to support it, or they may not be the one that thinks it's great. Sometimes we rely on, and this can be a good and bad thing. Sometimes the only information we rely on is our friend. And our friend don't have the insight. Our friend don't have the motivation. Our friend don't have the drive or the push. Our friend don't have the tenacity to step out and to move forward in a business, or they don't have the tenacity to step out and to put on this project or to do this idea or whatever, just because that's just not their makeup. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to know where you're storing your goods. You got to know where you're laying your treasure, in whose hands and whose ears you're laying it in, and if they can add value to it, or they're going to devalue it because they really don't have the capacity to see your vision for what it really could be and what you're setting out for it to accomplish. So we have to be careful of that. We have to be able to bounce back from a no. We got to be able to say, you know what? All right, I tried it. This didn't work. I want to be an event planner, and I planned this event, and only 7 people came. That doesn't mean that you aren't an event planner. It just means you just have to look at what you did and figure out what you did wrong and how you can make it better. But if you just say, you know what, I tried this first event and 7 people came and it wasn't a success, so I'm not doing it. No, it's just like, you taking a sport and you say, you know what, I'm going to the NBA. Okay, that's fine, but you better start in Little League. And you better work your way up, and you better, put your time in practice, and you better, that goal seems like it's nice when you're watching it on TV, but in order to get there, there's a lot of work that has to go into it. And there's a lot of missed shots. There's a lot of things you do wrong before you get to that place. And that same thing applies to your goals. It applies to your dreams, that sometimes you will fall into those categories where the things that you feel like you can do or want to do seems like it's too difficult. And if you just go off that first attempt and say, never mind, I can't do it, or no, that's not for me. No, grow from it. Learn from what you did, or learn from what you didn't do, and grow from it. Like you said, find somebody who's there, who can mentor you, who can help you, who can give you that insight, who can give you that information that you need, that will be that extra push that you need for you to be able to do it. But if you in January said, or in December of last year said, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and now today we're looking at and talking about how did we do with the goals that we set for 2019. If you're still in the same place that you were in when you set this goal, it's not the goal. It's you and your method of how you went about achieving it. And we just have to sometimes accept that harsh reality that we didn't do a good job on our end of the things that we wanted to do. We have that same scenario in our relationships. It's like, okay, we want our relationship to be better. We're going to spend more time together. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And that sounds good when you're making this declaration of what you're going to do. But then what's the work? When are you going to figure out where we can go for date night? What are you going to figure out who's going to watch the kids so we can have a date night? When are you going to figure out, okay, this is my budget for, we got a date night coming up and I only got $20 to spend. So how can I maximize this $20 and we have a ball and she feels like she done been somewhere and we spent $1,000 because of how I made her feel, considering my money couldn't do anything else. But if you don't have that mindset, if you don't have that approach, if you don't have that tenacity, then when it comes around, you'll be like, you know what, we just not even going to do date night. And now you're canceling something that was not strictly contingent upon money. And we do that same thing with our visions, with our dreams, with, our goals. It's like, oh, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't get it done or whatever. But make some progress. I wanted to lose some weight. I got some numbers of some weight I want to lose. I ain't nowhere near what I want to lose, but I made progress, and I'm happy with the progress that I made. I met one goal, but I didn't meet another one that I set because I still got a lot of work to do to get to the second goal. But I'm not going to quit just because I'm not there today. If I step on the scale today, and I don't see the number I want to see, I can't be like, man, forget this. That's just not how it works. You know what I mean? And so we can't have that mentality. And we have to learn how to be our mate's pusher, because and part of the failure in that is we don't always tell our mate what our goals are. And if I don't tell you what my goal is, then you can't hold me accountable to it. If I don't tell you what it is, then you can't help me get there. You can't help me, do what I need to do in order for me to figure out what I need to do, or even to show me the things that I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing some things wrong or I'm leaving some things out, but we have to be able to show that type of, we have to have some sense of transparency with our goals with someone, and it should be our mate first. If we can show that and share it with them, then they can kind of help us stay on task. You know, I know when since we were just talking about the workout, I know when I first started working out, like I needed my wife to kind of be like, "Did you go to the gym?" And I'll be like, "Why are you bringing that up?" You know what I mean? Like that's not. We ain't gotta talk about that today. Like just pass me them cookies. But
we love cookies.
We got. But you know what I'm saying? But like if your partner is not in on it, they may not necessarily be the one doing the work, but they got to know what you're supposed to be doing so that they can check you if you're not. They can remind you that I thought you said you was going to do this, or I thought you said by the first you was going to have this done, or that you was going to at least make this call, or you was going to set up this meeting, or you were going to do whatever. But we don't even bring our mate into the equation for them to help us stay accountable to the goals that we want or the places that we want to, the places that we want to be. So if you don't have a support system, then you're out there by yourself, and if you can't self motivate, then you'll be stuck and you'll be standing still trying to figure out, what did I do or how did I mess this up, or why didn't I get, to the place that I wanted to get to. And that's a tough place to get in. And sometimes it's difficult to get over that hump, but you got to do it. You got to do it. So for those of you who want to jump in the conversation, you give us a call at 1-855-493-6499, or for those of you who are on social media with us, feel free to jump in and share your comment, and we'll share it live on the show. But another thing that we also need to kind of do better with is when we set these goals, we have to set some realistic timetables with them. I can't say, all right, I make $6 an hour and I say this year I want to save $1 million. Like that's just not realistic if I'm trying to save $1 million off a $6 an hour job. Sometimes the goals, we set ourselves up for failure because the goal that we're setting is not realistic to our circumstance or to our situation. Mm-hmm. And we have to, that may be the ultimate goal, but we may have to do it in phases. And if we learn to accomplish the first phase, so the first phase sets us up for the second phase, then we're able to accomplish the goal. But to just say, you sitting at home watching your MTV Cribs, saying that's going to be my house on that $6 an hour income, you're going to be defeated when you call your real estate agent like, no, take me to the $2.7 million houses. They're like, for what? You know what I mean? You have to make those intermediate steps in order to do that. So sometimes we kind of set ourselves up for failure because, our goal that we set is not realistic, and we got to really make sure that it's realistic. What do you say to the people who struggle with even establishing or setting a goal? Because some people are not good at even establishing a goal or even finding out what it is that they want to do or should be doing to better themselves.
Well, they don't have to pray, because you have to pray and you have to get clarity in your mind so that you can be able to focus to write down what's needed, whether it be for you and your spouse or for just you yourself, because you have to have a goal. I mean, it's got to be something you want to obtain in life, or whatever it is. There's a process to getting it, right? No matter what. That's if you whatever you want to be or you want to do, there is a process to getting it, or being it, or maintaining what you have at the level. As years go by, my hairstylist is not giving me, a French roll and finger waves right now. Now she might give me some finger waves, so I like them, but she's not giving me a French roll and a tuck and all that stuff we used to get when I was in high school, because as the years go by, things change, and in order for her to be the best she can be, she have to change with it. She has to learn new hairstyles. She has to learn new products. Right. She has to learn. So even if she's just like, I reached my goal, I'm a hairstylist, but you still have to buckle down and focus on like how am I going to stay with the times? Right. How am I going to stay? I can't find the word, but how am I going to stay
relevant?
Yeah, I guess, for lack of a better word, relevant. But if you can't even sit down and to get your first goal, like you just really need to evaluate your life. You need to pray and ask God for clarity that you may be able to know what you want out of life, or what path you want to take. my 7-year-old, our 7-year-old son knows what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, that's why I'm saying everybody has a goal they want to obtain. So I'm sure that you have it somewhere in there, but you just have to sit down. And sometimes just sitting down and writing, after you come out of prayer, or, some of us meditate, after you do that, then just start writing things down to get your mind free. Get all those thoughts and things that are going on in your mind on paper, and then sort them from the paper.
Right.
And then get the process for the priorities.
Yep.
That
was good.
Get the process for the priorities.
I know.
Prioritize and
Right.
get the process for the priorities. I'm gonna keep saying that for the rest of the week.
Yeah,
So,
that was good. I mean, and that was a struggle area for me, because like I used to just keep my idea in my head and never put it on paper, and then it would be easy for me to forget it. I would have concepts of things that I want to do, but then I never wrote it down, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then a couple days go by and life happening and all that, and I'm like, it was something I wanted to do, but I never wrote it down, so then I never could get back to that great idea that I had, and then I never could fulfill it because it was gone. It was given to me in a moment, and I didn't capture or seize that moment to even write it down so that I could get back to it, to develop it into, to kind of sit with it, pray about it, anything. It was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, but then I just left it alone. And so I had to learn to start writing things down and to start being able to capture moments, because those moments are sometimes moments that I won't get back if I don't do anything with it. If I don't value that moment, and I don't value that this is something of substance that I need to keep, then I will be like, man, I could have, or I knew it was something I wanted to do. And then, you'd be mad if later you see it. I had a concept of this shirt that I could make, or I had a concept of this song I could write, or, this book or whatever, anything. And then, you forget about it because you never wrote it down. You never did anything with it. And then later you see it somewhere else and you're like, man, that's what I was going, I thought about, I said.
And nobody believes you.
Right. You ain't got no proof, you know what I mean? But it's like, those are the kinds of things that, that we miss out on because we don't capitalize on them, because sometimes our method of thinking is not always on point. So I know you mentioned a little bit about the conference earlier. Can you give us a little more information about the conference that's coming up?
So the conference is coming up. It's for married and engaged. And it is Affirm Foundation. Is that the Yeah, Affirm Foundation. I got so many things in my head. And it's January 24th and 25th. It's $100 per couple. We will have speakers, and, we will feed your spiritual and your natural man. And, we will have different things for you and your spouse, or for you to be successful in your relationship. It's not just for people, and I will continue to say this, it's not just for people that are going through, or that are, divorce papers. We did have people call in last week, and I'm so grateful for them and for their testimonies. However, there are people that come that are just coming because they just want to have that maintenance in their relationship. Mm-hmm. And we do have a good time, and we do give out gifts, and we do, cry a little bit, laugh a little bit, play games, and all of that. But it is January 24th and 25th. We will, Marcus will tell you how to register, and we need you to register before the 22nd, because I don't like to keep messing with money when we try and plan it. Like, it's just us, y'all. So please have some mercy on us, because, a lot of people register early, but there are a lot of people that wait. And so we just don't want you waiting. And sometimes you can't come because we only have a certain amount.
Right.
So, but talk to your spouse. Men, it is really good when you just pay for the conference. This is just my experience. Mm-hmm. It is really good when you just pay for the conference and whatever we're doing. We're not doing anything extra this year, but sometimes we talked about this last week. Sometimes we have different things like adult prom, a masquerade ball, just different things we do. But we're not doing anything this year. Well, at least we haven't said we are. But so it's really good, men.
It is.
When you pay and you just tell them this is where we're going. Like, they love, like, your fiance, wife absolutely loves it. Absolutely loves that. Like, oh, I didn't have to say, can you pay for the conference? Or are we going to the conference this year? You know, just tell them. And that's just been my experience, you know, for the ones that just their husbands just do that, or their fiancés just do that. And then for the ones that have to keep saying it until the 23rd. So just, you know that we want you to register. And for those of you on social media, we'll put it out. When you see our flyer, please share our flyers. This is not just for the people that know us. You know, plenty of times we have people come that we don't know at all. People invite people, and we appreciate you for that. And just let anybody that's married and engaged that can benefit from our conference come, please. If it's your first time, come out, enjoy yourself. I promise you that you will not regret spending that $100.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely a good time, and men, what she was talking about is 100% correct. Your wife, your fiance, she wants to come. She's just worried about whether or not you're going to come. And so when you take the initiative and you say, hey babe, we're going, or you want to go, or I already registered or whatever, then they're like overjoyed, because they've been waiting on that. But it's definitely a wonderful time. And as far as the registration goes, you can go to www.teambevins.com, which will give you some information as far as how to get to our store, our online store, which is where you would register. Our online store is www.mkt.com/w-Marcus-Bevins, which is a lot to try to remember. That's why I said just go to Team Bevins.
And Bevins is spelled
Bevans, like Evans, with a B in front of it. And it'll, give you some information. And for those of you who are on social media, if you're following Team Bevins, or if you're in the Couples Corner marriage group, then, the flyer will be posted there on our pages and things of that nature. So for those of you who see the flyer, share it, so those who are not directly connected with us will be able to have access to it and see it and get the information off of there. But we would love to, be able to fellowship with you guys at the conference. Like she said, we have an amazing time. We do a lot of stuff, and, we definitely going to have some fun. That's guaranteed. I'm going to have fun anywhere I go, for sure. So we're definitely going to do that. And it is, well, listen, let me give you this disclaimer too. If you're timid and you got little soft ears and you can't handle raw truth and raw information, you might want to toughen up your ears, because we keep it real. You know what I mean? We keep it 100, and we don't sugarcoat it. We don't, we don't play no games with it, because we're talking about people's lives, and we're talking about, the truth. And especially this year, we're talking about, a firm foundation, and how to make sure that our relationships will have longevity, because we have a strong foundation. If you know anything about a house or building a house, you want to make sure that your foundation is strong, because you can build a house as tall as you want or as wide as you want, but if that foundation is weak, it'll crumble. And that's what happens when marriages end up ending and they're crumbling. It's because the foundation wasn't strong. And the beauty about it is, even though you're already married, you can firm your foundation now. And you have the ability to restructure your foundation. You have the ability to add additional strength to your foundation, so that it will be able to work. So that's definitely something that we want you all to be able to be a part of. I don't want you hearing about it. Many of you have talked about all of the things that you've heard about the conference, or you've been at different seminars or different things that we've been a part of or done. Until you've experienced one of the conferences, trust me, there's a good portion of things that you have not experienced. And for those of you who don't have the book that we have out, 64 Tools for a Successful Relationship, my wife's going to give you a little more information on getting that. Of course, that too is on our online store, where you'll be able to get that. But it's definitely something that you need to have in your library, and we want you all to be a part of it. So we thank y'all for tuning in with us tonight, and we will holler at y'all next week.
Special
show next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Couples Corner with Team Bevins. We're grateful that you stopped by and shared your time with us today. that you shared your time with us. And now we've got to go, but we look forward to connecting with you again here on the Couples Corner with Team Bevins. saying like I'm talking about to make sure that it's off because like inside the speaker when I in the record app, like when I go to the like main menu where I can see the shows and all that stuff like that, it's still saying that the show is live. No, no. Okay. Yeah. Is the other computer the lab two or the lab one? Okay. Yeah. Cause now I mean like I said I stopped it on the little tablet, but I need to do it on the computer too, right? Yeah, it's not letting me in the it's not letting me in the joint. I'm putting the lab one in, but it's not.